year, you kind of had something in your mind in terms of the new kickoff rule, how many more kickoffs could impact. Do you have an idea now, like how many more kickoffs you're going to see this year?
Yeah, I think, personally, I think you're going to cover probably all of them. When you go into the season, it's hard to give up the 35-yard line on a touchback when last year the average drive start was the 30. So it's hard to walk in and say, hey, we're just going to give 5 yards. But I can't tell you exactly, how many, but I would say pretty much most of them guys are going to try to cover.
Do you expect to use the preseason to see what Carlson does, or are you kind of saving that for the regular season?
Scheme-wise, we'll save, but we'll try to cover every kick because we owe it to our players to find, who the best guys are. So we'll try to cover every single rep that we can to see who the cover players should be and shouldn't be. But from a scheme standpoint, we're going to try to save some stuff. I think everybody will.
Do you like the rule?
I love the rule. And the big thing is our special teams players now, they got to work every single play. There's going to be a tackle. You got to block somebody every single play. So at the end of the season, you're going to have guys with 20 tackles on kickoff. And last year we covered, I think, only like 27, 28. You get that up near the 70s, and your special teams players' value, it skyrockets. And they want to play. They're football players. They want to make plays. Same thing on KOR. They want to block. And your returner value skyrockets. Last year you got 20 returns. This year that player has 70. I don't know in the league who gets 70 touches before the season starts. That kick returner is going to get more than – he's guaranteed more touches other than your halfbacks.
How do you see Genty so far?
Genty, he's doing great for us. He's a natural catcher, which is the most important thing. You got to have the ball first. But he's got really, really good run skill. He's just got an ability to square all defenders up. And when you square, when people say, hey, what's so great about that? It gives him a two-way go. You can square somebody up. You can beat him both ways. So he's been impressive, and he acts like a rookie, and he works like a rookie. So that's, to me, that's straight respect for the vets, too.
Is it easier, I guess fight's not the right word, but easier discussion to say, hey, we need our best guys out on the team?
Yeah, our best kick returner, regardless of who they are, where they're drafted, that's a guy that's going to play. So I think that's what everybody's going to do.
Is Jack figure he finds small special teams somewhere?
Every player, and I'll just be cutthroat with you. Every one of our players is playing special teams. Every starter. Every player is playing. So, yes, every single guy right now is playing. When you're watching practice, there's nobody that doesn't play special teams reps.
Where can he help you on special teams?
Contact, positions. You know what I'm saying from that standpoint. A lot of receivers, play strength-wise, will struggle a little bit on kickoff return because it's a 5-yard box now. The blocking's from 5 yards, where before it was a 3rd and 18 play. It's a 4th and short play now. If you really study the play, so you need big guys like him at play strength. He's a rare wide receiver that can play in the interior on punt. He's not necessarily just a gunner, so I'd say his contact play strength is very good.
He seems to like contact.
Oh, no question. Jack's tough.
Did it in college.
Yes.
Did it out here.
Yeah, Jack's tough. That's not a question.
You've seen a good mix of guys kind of handling kick and punt return. You see guys like Sincere or Dylan or Tommy even. When you look at these guys, what are some things that you've really liked about them so far as to kind of why they, attribute to that factor of the game?
The big thing is from a kick return standpoint, it's going to come down to a little bit of play strength. A guy that's 160 pounds, 100 reps, pounding it up in there, it'll wear on him a little bit. So we're trying to get some of them bigger bodies, to catch the football. I think everybody's kind of doing that. That doesn't mean Trey Tucker can't be your kick returner. It's just that we're using all those guys to find the best player, but it's more of the halfback type, body type is what I think you're going to see in the league, especially with the numbers going so high with kick returns. But we're going to use everybody, and they're all working hard. The best thing that they're doing is they're catching the ball, every single type of kick, and we're hitting line drives at them. We're hitting balls that hit the ground at them. It's not going to be the 4-0 hang time because you don't give your kickoff team a head start. They can go when the ball hits the ground. It doesn't make a lot of sense to kick it right into their arms because you're waiting at the 40-yard line. So they're doing a good job.
How has Daniel been adjusting to all the different things you want him to do? And I guess is the ideal to at least bounce it once?
I think the ideal is not just the bounce, but the location of the kick. That's the biggest part of it. And he's adjusting well. He knows what both our specialists have a toolbox. and we give them a pretty light toolbox, to be honest with you, the kicks that we're going to do, the punts that we use, and then they master those. And then it's my job to make sure that we don't kick the same one all the time. But the ball he's kicking, whether it's right, left, or middle, is really the same ball, just to be honest with you. You know, consistency is perfection, and we want to make that toolbox small, but can he go everywhere with it?
You mentioned everybody playing special teams. Max has been on the field goal all the kicking team. Is that something that you would expect to see, or is he just kind of setting a tone out there?
No, we're not going to waste reps. I mean, everybody that's out there, that's a position they're possibly going to play in the season. Yeah, I mean, if I use Max on field goal and we're not going to ever use him during the season, it's not good, coach. You know, we're wasting reps. So those guys everybody's competing for a position, and he's trying to win that job.
The whole motto for the team this offseason has been compete, right? Yes. Competition, and it's the first day in full pads. So what was that dynamic like getting?
It was really good. You know, we went punt, you guys saw it, and then we had punt return against it, and it was full rush. You know, and so you always worry a little bit about guys getting too close to your punter because you only got one of those. But the big thing we wanted to see is, you know, our strike progression, you know, our communication, things like that. So it's the first time we could ever take that third step on the rush. And, you know, we could go fourth and fifth step, and now it forces your punt team to be strikers. It forces your punt return unit to get on edges. And then you saw the gunners and the vice really, really competing because in this league, you know, they're on their own field. In this league, the gunners are the only guys that can leave when the ball snapped. So we created a lot of competition today, and every single guy got a rep within the competition.
He said himself that there are so many positions where you don't really know what you have until the pads come on. How have you seen that with players you evaluate?
Yeah, I agree 100%. You know, because it's especially on special teams, it's a play strength sport. You know, especially with the new kickoff, you can't hide guys on the backside anymore. You know, the guys that are a small corner, a small wideout. I shouldn't say small, a guy that plays small. Okay, you can't hide those guys anymore. Everybody's right up front. You have to have play strength. So the pad part of it really, really is very important, and we have to do a great job of managing the reps and what we're trying to get out of it so that we can get better.
AJ is consistently been with the best numbers in the league. It seems like every year he finds a way to get better. I guess what has he got better at this offseason?
I'll tell you what I think. I think he's really doing a good job of getting that ball outside the red line. You know, he's given us a rectangle that's very, very small, and that's important to him. You know, he wants to punt the ball to the gunners. You know, you guys have heard me say A squared plus B squared is C squared. Let him punt the C squared and let us run the A squared. And he's bought into that, and, you know, he always has, but he's getting better and better. He's a competitor now. He's a good football player. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Another training camp underway, man. Like, how are you feeling about the training camp thus far?
Yeah, I feel really good about it. I mean, it's good to get out here. It's good to, work as a group, get to know the guys. I think training camp is when a lot of team building and camaraderie happens because there's really nothing else going on besides football. We're with each other, 14, 15 hours a day, including meals. So, yeah, it's great. It's good to get the pads on today and kind of play some real football.
I've been asking a lot of people this. Pete Carroll, his energy, it's electric. Like, from your point of view, like, how refreshing is it to see a coach like that out there, 70-plus years old, with the kind of energy he has running around?
Yeah, I mean, I think as you age, you want to increase in wisdom, but you don't want to lose the youthful spirit. And I think he's a good embodiment of that. And so seeing, the optimism and seeing that, because I think sometimes life beats the optimism out of people, and seeing that he still has that is really encouraging. It's really inspiring. But it does come with the wisdom and the experience that age tends to bring. So I think it's an incredible balance. And, really excited to play for him and to, see what that does throughout the course of the season.
Did you see him covering butts?
Was he? Was he running down there?
Yeah.
He's starting like 40 yards downfield, though?
He was a gunner. He was down there getting ash.
Tagging off at the hip? I don't know. When's the last time we had a player coach? It's like the next Bill Russell, maybe? Yeah.
Good pull.
Thanks.
I asked Tom McMahon what you've improved on this offseason. He said it was getting into a smaller rectangle where the gunners can cover a little bit easier. I guess was that your focus this offseason?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every offseason, I just spend hours and hours and hours staring at the football, trying to think about how I can kick it further and higher and closer to the sideline. And so that's the goal every single year. And, maybe there's a year where it's perfect, but it's never been that yet. And so every year there's something to work on. But, yeah, if I can put the ball in a small rectangle and give them a tiny field to work with, we got explosive returners in this league. There's 32 guys on 32 teams that can crib it every time they touch the ball. And so if you can give them as little field to work in and, make guys try and tackle them in a phone booth, I think that's best.
You've had Max as the blocker on the edge for field goals. How much trust do you have in him to hold guys off from getting through there as a whole?
I mean, how much more trust can you have in a guy? I mean, that's someone is gonna give everything he's got every single play, and I think it's good to have him out there. I just respect that a guy that's getting paid what he's getting paid, who has the accolades that he has, is going to take something like field goal as serious as he's taking it. And, we'll see if he ends up out there on game day. But I think that the fact he's out there in practice sends a message to the rest of the team that there's no job too small, no detail unimportant. And we're going to do whatever we take to win, and we're going to have the 11 best on the field on every single play, whoever that 11 is.
Just so you know, is he just trying to set a tone in practice, or is he going to do that in the game? He said we wouldn't waste reps like that.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, he's playing good out there right now.
Do you feel any pressure like being like best punter in the league? That's because you're my guy or whatever. But do you feel any pressure like getting contracts and everything else and being recognized as?
I'm starting to feel very comfortable.
Yeah, I was actually talking about this a little bit earlier. Is the funny thing about my job versus Daniel's job, for instance, is for Daniel the uprights are the exact same dimensions every single year. So there's like a theoretical max to what he can do, which is make 100% of his kicks. But for a punter, the better you play, the more the goalposts just shift. If I kick it 50 yards, can I kick it 51? If I kick a 4-8 hang, can I kick a 4-9? There's no theoretical limit to what I can do. It feels like the ball can always go a yard further, a tenth higher, a yard closer to the sideline. And so, I think there is a little bit of pressure, but I think it's a good thing. And I think that it forces me to really, lock in, and I don't have, I'm very hard on myself. I'm very critical of my own performance. And so I continue to shift the goalposts probably more than anybody else will shift them for me. And I think there is a little bit of pressure, but I think that the pressure is a good thing. And I think that once you stop feeling that pressure and once you start having that jitters, it's probably time to hang them up because you don't care enough anymore.
When you came into the league, did you kind of have any goals like that? Like, I want to, as you came into the league, this great guy and everything you know about him, obviously. Like, did you come into the league maybe thinking like, I want to be a Hall of Fame or anything like that? You ever have like lofty goals like that?
To be completely honest, when I was in high school, I didn't even have a goal of playing in college. And when I was in college, I didn't have a goal of playing in the NFL. And then when I got to the NFL, I was just so happy to be there that I was just going to do everything I can to just enjoy my time and get all the juice out of it. So I really haven't been someone who tangibly writes down goals. Because for me, and I know everybody's different on this, but for me, goals can be kind of limiting in some ways, where if I say like, okay, I want to be first team All-Pro, that still might not be reflective of achieving the most I can accomplish. And so to me, the goals that I set are more so based off of my routine, based off of my process, and based off of giving every single thing I have to the game every single day. And so, the accolades are good, and anything that comes with that, a contract or anything like that, it's positive. There's good things about it, but I've never been one to sit down in a journal and say, oh, I want to average this, I want to net this. My goals are more so like, here's what I'm going to do every single day. I'm going to put the blinders on. I'm going to spend 95% of my time in the microscope, and then I'm going to look up at the end of the season and see where I was at.
Last two those lines. Do you know where you stand on the all-time list in average?
Not a clue.
Second.
Okay. Who's first? Come on, know your facts, Adam.
I look it up.
Lock in.
I guess I was going to ask, is that important to you? But
You gonna come talk smack to me and not know who's better?
I was saying that it was impressive.
Thanks.
But I mean, is those things important to you? Like going down in history all time, like wherever you end up ranking?
No, not necessarily. I mean, to me, the most important thing, like I said, is the beginning of the goal, right? The process and how I go about that. But more important to me than any stat, any accolade is just being a great teammate. Being a great teammate does have to do with production, and it does have to do with how you play and all of that. But from a stats perspective, I try and watch that as little as possible, because I think that can be a potentially a dark place to go to. And I think that the more you stat watch, the more you take away from the game. And so when I go out there, am I thinking about numbers? I try not to, because I try and think about putting the ball in the right place so my coverage team can go down there and make a huge play. They can go get paid, and we can win the game. That's really what I'm thinking about.
As today, made tackles in games. You've been working on your form and getting ready to get out there and some hits.
I mean, there's just 90 guys out there that are lucky I wasn't full contact today. That's all I'm going to say. You know, I hired a new landscaper. I'm not going to say his name. We're gatekeeping because the time he's dedicating on my yard, if we get too many clients, he's not going to have that kind of time. But I tell you what, he's putting in the work right now. He's showing up early. He's leaving late. First man in the building. The plants for the middle of August, it's July, look fantastic. I mean, what we got going on through the summer, I've never seen such greenery. I've never seen such positive growth. Do we have some dead leaves here and there? Yes, it's Vegas in the summer. But the shrubbery looks fantastic. Thanks, AJ. Thanks.
For the most part, with all the tricky questions, right? Yeah.
He's so excited for this special teams day.
Last year we thought you'd have a lot of kickoffs in the league. This year we kind of know you do.
Yeah.
How's the preparation been for the new kickoff?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it's almost like last year was a little bit of a learning experience, and then teams kicked off less than we probably thought. So this year they're making us basically kick off more, which I love. I think we hope to just really take advantage of that on the return and the kickoff coverage side. Yeah, we'll see as it goes, but I mean we're really emphasizing taking advantage of it and doing some things that hopefully set us up for success rather than just necessarily popping it down and kicking it to them. Just hitting a lollipop. Like, we want to try and take advantage of some different kicks and different kinds of coverage and returns. It's just set our defense or our offense up well.
Without giving too much away, what is the most important thing on a kickoff now?
Probably location. Probably just making sure you're not giving them free yards where if you pop it to them on the 10-yard line, we're starting when they catch the ball. And so if you give them 10 extra yards where they're just starting at the 10-yard line instead of the goal line, that's a huge that's kind of the hang time equation nowadays. So at a certain point, it's location on where the ball is placed, whether it's the corners, the middle, deep, short, whatever it is. You got to kind of be more precise nowadays.
Maybe making sure they're not on the run when they catch it.
That's a big part of it too. Yeah, like you don't want them just catching it down the middle with a head of steam and ready to hit the return and get that free yardage. That's things we're working on and kind of game plans we're figuring out as we look at different opponents. Some guys are going to have two returners back there. Some guys are going to have one. A lot of it's TBD. We'll see what happens in the season now.
What have you learned maybe that what you were doing during the summer and now you see it on the field like, oh, this guy figured it out right away, caught it.
Yeah, and I think credit to like Tom McMahon and the staff. I think we've been working this from last year pretty heavily. I think more so than maybe some other teams. So I think we're already a step ahead, and now it's just a matter of just like any other position and any other play. Now we've talked about it. Now we got to go practice it and go do it in games now.
So rumor has it that you and AJ are friendly, that you guys get along well. What's it like for to see AJ kind of have the success that he's having? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he's kind of been rated as maybe like one of the best punters in the league.
Maybe
the best punter in the
league. Yeah.
What's it like as a buddy, like to kind of see like him have the kind of success that he's
it's been cool. This is going on year 7 together now. So I got to see him as a rookie, and it's just awesome to see him get to work every day. And get to show up together as friends, but also it's coworkers, and just get to better our crafts together, and just seeing how far he's come and continuing to go. I mean, he's just getting started, and we hope he just has a great year. Hopefully he's not on the field a whole lot, other than maybe holding some more, but no, it's just awesome to see him day in, day out, and it's helped me a ton as a player, as a teammate, and then off the field too. It's just a blast to get to spend 7 years of our lives together, and hopefully a lot more.
Do you guys have any type of friendly competition between punters and kickers?
Yeah, I mean, off the field, not just on football, but we're just. Yeah, I mean, we call each other work wives a lot of times. We joke about it, but I probably spend as much time with him as I do my wife. So we get to know each other really well, and get to spend a lot of good time competing. Obviously Coach Carroll's all about competition. So whether it's shooting some hoops in the basketball, on the basketball hoop, or playing some cornhole, whatever it is, just a little friendly competition to just better our crafts on the field, but also off the field.
So we gotta ask, who's better?
I mean, depends who you're asking. I'd say me, but he's going to say him. So depends on the game. I mean, we've golf in the off season. I think he won a couple games of free throw competition the other day, and then I won horse. So, he's got the basketball background, but yeah, we rise to the occasion. Go ahead.
In the 7 years that you guys have been together, how do you come to the training camp and try to think of different ways to grow upon something from the previous season? After you've known each other so long, I know you can get into patterns and things like that. So how do you guys kind of stray from that to keep everything fresh?
Fresh, yeah. I mean, I think every year, we're continuing to try and get better, and we've talked about that. We've come a long way from our first couple years, but I mean, now you want to continue to there's always problems to solve with your swing, with your, whatever the opponents are showing with the new kickoffs, whatever it may be. So, just putting our heads together and talking it through with each other. We kind of speak the same language. A lot of it is self-taught, and, we're coaching each other about our swings, but, we're so familiar with each other now, we can kind of coach each other and help each other out, just work through, any issues we're having on the field. And so it's been just really awesome to have that camaraderie throughout the years, and just we obviously are both very competitive, want to do well, and so it's fun to be able to push each other and also lean on each other a little bit.
You're coming into your 8th season with the Raiders. You're already second all-time in field goals made, third, 40 points away from George Blanda. Do these records have any meaning, having your name up there in the record?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, especially for a historic organization like the Raiders. I mean, that does emphasize special teams, and has so many legendary kickers and punters and snappers throughout the league. So it's really cool, and I try not to dwell on that too much right now, and later on look back at that and really enjoy that. But I mean, it is really cool, and you gotta enjoy it every once in a while and think about it. And but I've been very blessed and really enjoyed my time here, and I'm very appreciative of being a Raider, and hopefully get to do that for a long time. And but yeah, just trying to take advantage of each day as it comes right now, and then this season, of course.
What advantages have you noticed just about having training camp back in Vegas?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, obviously we've got some good fans coming in, and it's really fun to just feel the energy here in town. I think we've been fortunate with not too warm weather so far, so that's been great. But I mean, we have top-notch facilities here. So as much as it would have been fun to go back to California and Napa, wherever it may have been, I think it's great to be here. You kind of have your own setup, and we're going to go in the stadium Saturday. That's going to be a huge advantage for us to just get some mental reps and kind of visualize what it's going to be like on game day a few weeks from now and stuff. So I think everybody's really enjoying it. The staff's doing an unbelievable job, just making sure the hotel's perfect, all the food. We're able to recover as well as we can, so guys can go out and practice as hard as they need to.
Kind of speaking of energy, what are your thoughts when you see Coach Carroll out
awesome.
there covering punts and just running
It's
around?
awesome. Yeah, I mean, he's probably getting as much running in as any other player. I mean, it's unbelievable, and it brings it. Yeah, it's very contagious. I mean, it just brings energy, whether it's the meetings, whether it's the practice. I mean, he's involved in everything, and he's just constantly running around and moving around, and it's just awesome to see that. Him preach it, but actually you can see it in display too every single day.
We saw a tryout kicker out there. Does that help you, just to be able to let somebody else get a couple of kickoffs and rescue, or did you like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's value, and you just always never know if I got hurt or something. You got to kind of have a short list ready and stuff. So I think it's always cool, and I've been the younger guy, kind of competing or whatever. But I mean, different scenarios, but. It was really cool, and Gavin, he was great, and it was great to get to try and help him along too, and but it's also good for me to see someone else kick, and then you kind of have to follow up on that and stuff, and feel a little almost competition. So it was a unique deal, and I thought it was really good, and we got to talk about the kickoff situation, because that's something he's trying to work on, and so swapping ideas a little bit, that'll hopefully help me improve going into the season.
Cool, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Really care for me?
All right, I have a question.
Eric, a lot of the young guys have been rotating in. What have you seen from DCAM, DeCorian, and
Darian as well.
Man, them some young dogs on the way, especially D-Cam and DP, like some savages, especially today. Just really today, our first day in pads, showing what they can really do and all this stuff. And man, DP got a big upside, especially coming. This is second year playing corner, I believe, switching from wide receiver. So just learning technique, learning different things. I see a bright future for him.
You feel like you're sort of the mentor of this group?
I try to be, especially being one of the older guys in the room. It's 26, pretty much being an older guy. That's kind of different. But I feel like I'm pretty much an older guy. I done had a lot of good vets in my years. I done had Kevin King. I done had Jair, Jai. I done had Sewell, Keyshawn. I could just go on with some of the couple of vets that I done had that just done taught me different things. So I love it. I say this out.
You joke about the youth, the seniors getting some better than 26. A lot of people from the outside have been like, hey, linebackers are good, the line's really good. It's the question mark is the secondary. How does that drive you? Is that a chip on your shoulder? Do you pay attention to that at all?
Nah, I don't even really pay attention to none of that stuff because I know at the end of the day, it's pretty much what you do on the field. I know for a fact that we got a young group. We got guys that really trying to prove themselves. And that's the biggest thing that I love. Like, everybody in that DB room got a chip on their shoulder. And when you got a chip on their shoulder, it brings out a lot of dogs, bring out a lot of animals. So once the season get here, who knows what it really gonna bring.
Would you describe the way Pete Carroll coaches DBs in particular?
Pete don't play about his DBs. I tell you that from rule no one. He sits in the meeting room. He's always throwing his input in and all this stuff. But then again, you look at his resume. He done coached some of the best. Richard Sherman, the Legion of Boom, and all this little stuff. And so any little thing that he says, it goes a long way, especially in that room. So he don't play about his DBs.
What can you take away from some of the players that are here that have worked with them in the past, like Jamal Adams?
Man, they all say the same thing. Like, they all got tremendous love for him and all this stuff to where, like, he could bring the energy, he could bring the juice, he could switch it up day in and day out. You really don't know what type of thing that he gonna do. Like, yesterday, since we had a day off yesterday, started meetings, Pete just go bring everybody in the indoor, play some music and start dancing around. And then after they say, like, man, since y'all had an off day, don't mean that y'all finna be lazy and bring it in here today and all this stuff like that. So each and every day, we just had different little things, like a shoot off and all this stuff. So just like the juice, the energy that he brings is tremendous.
Were you guys doing jump balls over there?
Always, every day after practice, it's a competition with a jump ball. So any little thing that goes on, like, it's just a competition. Like, he love competition. So if you pretty much Pete not finna tolerate that.
Speaking of young guys, you got the two rookie receivers I'm sure you've matched up with. What stood out about going against both Jack and Dante?
Man, they both tremendous. Mac, tall, fast, can really open up the field for you and all that stuff. And then Jack, he's shifty and for sure hands, especially coming across the middle. I can't wait to see more of them, like, especially with pass on, because again, that's when you really get the truth. You really find out who they really is.
You look at a guy like Darian, who's obviously not that much experience in the position, but just the physical tools are all there. What have you seen from him, and what do you think his ceiling is?
Man, his ceiling high. Like, again, this only his second year, I believe, playing. And he's still learning, he's still figuring out multiple different things, and he's pretty much like a sponge. Like, he's taking in so much information, listening to everything, trying new techniques, just doing every little thing. So, like, it'll be multiple days on film, you'll see a rep, like, man, that's a rep, DP. And then you'll just got to give him kudos. You just got to, like, just keep your confidence up, because, again, playing DB is just all about confidence. Once you lose that confidence, everything else is downhill.
So what's it been like transitioning from Packers training camp to the Raiders training camp? What in terms of weather, in terms of everything on your landscape?
Man, the beautiful thing about this is that we practice at 8:30 in the morning. If it was 10, I think I probably would have been dying. I think I probably would have been one of the people in one of the cold tubs or hot tubs or whatever, the things. But outside of that, the vibes are different. The energy is different. It just, man, it's love. Like, man, you just look out and you look at the mountains in the background and stuff, like the scenery and all this stuff, man, it's just beautiful out here. Like, it's hard not to love Vegas.
How different is the first day of pads after the ramp up of OTAs, the offseason, minicamp, first 4 days of practice? How different is that first day putting those pads on?
Man, you already know that first day gonna be heck and all this stuff, because, like, everybody bringing their energy, everybody bringing their juice. But I always like to say, man, anybody can be a dog on the first day of pass. It's like the second, that third day. Let's see what you really made of. Because anybody can come out here and bang for a day and think they got it. But nah, I want to see you day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. Because that's when, like, the real thing come on. Because anybody can just fall off and just do it one day. Like, nah, I need to see consistency, and that's the biggest thing for me.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate y'all. Oh, love.